campus of Auburn University as the 16th-ranked Tigers host the 7th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide in the second meet of our doubleheader on Friday Night Heights. I'm John Rottensberger alongside Alicia Sacramone-Quinn as we jump into the RQS standings. And this is a new ranking as we head to the end of the season here, the regional qualifying score. You can see that line in the middle of the rankings. The top 4 teams in the conference get the evening session at the SEC Championships, and that is so important because if you're not in that evening session, you really don't give yourself a good chance to win the conference title. Arkansas, Auburn, and Georgia are trying to get into that top 4. Dana Duckworth and the Alabama Crimson Tide have had an up-and-down season, Alicia, and they were dealt another blow this week.
They lost one of their physical and emotional leaders, Mackenzie Brennan, on trying to come back in the floor exercise, and she unfortunately tore her Achilles tendon. She had surgery on Wednesday. We hear it went well, and we are wishing her a speedy recovery and all the best. And
she has really battled a lot this season. Her brother battling lymphoma. Our thoughts go out to her, and unfortunate way for her to finish her gymnastics career here at Alabama. Now we're jumping right into the first rotation. Auburn will start on the vault as the home team. This is Katie Becker as you look at their lineup. This is an event, Alicia, it seems like they have some vaults, but they don't put together the clean landings, and that's really hurt them.
They have 3 10.0 start values. Their RQS, it should be really higher than what it is, but they need to fine-tune those landings. Starting off with a big Yurchenko full. Nice distance, good height and control, just a small pop in place on that landing. Good form, legs are together the whole time. Slight foot separation in the landing, but that shouldn't cost her that much.
Pretty clean landing. Her high on the season is a 9.8. Hoping to break that as we go over to bars, and this is Ari Guerra for Alabama. She is a junior out of League City, Texas, out of Texas Dreams Gymnastics Academy. That is where world champion Kim Zemeskel coaches, does an outstanding job.
Giving herself a little mental pep talk before she mounts the apparatus. Mounting up onto the high bar. Hitting that handstand to a clean blind change. Big straddle Jaeger. Shoot over handstand. You'll see a lot of transitions moving from high bar, low bar, high bar, all to fulfill requirements to start from a 10.0. Gearing up for a dismount. Big double layout. Stuck landing.
Alabama could not ask for a better start on the uneven bars.
Here you can see that beautiful handstand. You're in that 10-degree radius where you're not going to lose any deductions for that. And then again, that perfectly stuck double layout to a nice presentation.
And that really is what separates teams in the SEC, is sticking those landings. Dana Duckworth has to like it. Now, Miracle Phillips is the second gymnast up for Auburn. She follows Katie Becker's 9.8. So that ties Katie Becker's season-high score. This is one of those gymnasts, Alicia, that's got a big vault, but Jeff Graba said she just needs to stick that landing.
It's all about control. Big full, hiking down. That hike down is going to cause her to take that step and the leg separation. It's a nice vault, but it's unfortunately losing deductions that could be easily changed.
Unfortunate step on another big vault. Now, the series history between these two teams has not been pretty for Auburn. They've only won 10 times, and mind you, 9 of those 10 times were the first 9 meetings between these two teams, so they've only gotten 1 since 1979. This has been a tough road to hoe, but Auburn has come a long way. They are not the same team they were a decade ago. They have a legit chance to win this as we see Winter Childers mount the uneven bars. Ari Guerra got a 9.85. Great score to start with.
Connecting those two moves from low bar to high bar, back to low bar, gaining some bonus points. Hitting that handstand on the high bar, line change. Dismounts. I don't know if they'll give her a stick. She did move that foot forward before she presented to the judges, so that might be a small deduction. You see, she flips. The leg separation there is going to be a deduction, and then that small foot movement is going to be half a tenth at least.
The rules for tonight's gymnastic competition: each team can put up 6 gymnasts per event. The 5 best scores count, and that's important because they can drop a mistake. They can drop that low score after all 4 apparatus are done. They add it up. The highest team score is the winner. Home team starts on vault. Visiting team starts on bars, but more importantly, that visiting team has to end on balance beam. Now Taylor Krippner has a chance to go on vault. Miracle Phillips got a 9.775. Just too many landing deductions.
Approaching the table, nice body position,
There
and
you
a
go.
stuck Yurchenko full.
That's more like it.
That was beautiful. Nice block off the table, great height, and just that perfect control she needed to control that landing. Wow, beautiful.
That is a 9.95 start value, rather. They do have some 10-0 start values coming later in the lineup, so a chance to really raise those scores. Shea Mahoney is the next gymnast to go on bars for Alabama as we wait for Winter Childers' score. Winter gets a 9.875, a career high for her, and of note, she is the one that steps in because Mackenzie Brannon is out of the lineup, so that is huge for Alabama.
You can see the mat underneath the bar, and that's allowed to be there as long as it's pulled out of the way. You see that fine gentleman right there moving it out. See Coach over here adding a little extra support. As long as he doesn't touch the athletes, there is no deduction. Hitting that handstand. Building momentum for the dismount. Full twisting double back.
Wow.
To a wow.
Wow.
Wow. I don't even have words, just wow. Phenomenal routine.
Unbelievable routine from her. We're going to go to Lauren Sisler. She's got more on this great rivalry.
Look, this place is loud, it's energetic. I've seen this Alabama-Auburn rivalry the last 6 years in multiple athletic events. And let me tell you, this is the real deal, a deep-rooted rivalry that you will see like nothing else. And Jeff Graba hoping that that momentum carries over from Auburn's big win over Alabama on this basketball court in the same arena on Wednesday night.
It is a fun rivalry. Auburn on the short end of the stick most of the time, but hoping to change their fortunes here as Drew Watson heads down the runway.
Yurchenko. That was a stuck 10.0 start value vault. So I'm looking at 9.95 minimum on that vault, in my opinion.
Taylor Krippner got a 9.9, so a career high for her right before this Drew Watson vault.
If they're going to be real nitpicky, what? They're going to take a little bit for that wobble forward when she didn't move? That was amazing.
Shea Mahoney on bars, a 9.9 of her own. Both of these teams know the Iron Bowl of gymnastics is at stake, and they want it.
Auburn is looking for that second win over Alabama on their home turf.
We've got some outstanding freshmen on both sides in this competition. This is one of them, Lexi Graber. She's had a great first season here at Alabama.
A blind change full to Ginger. Slight leg separation on the pirouette and on the release move. This routine is full of difficulty. It's just about fine-tuning at this point and not giving deductions and giving the judges any small deductions. Tad bit short on that handstand. Full twisting double back. We're fighting for that stick. She doesn't move her feet.
Man, both of these teams are just nailing these landings. This is fun.
The Ginger, you do a flip with a half twist to catch the bar. You see the legs separate once your hands and body weight is underneath her. And that full twisting double back, 2 flips, 1 twist, and a slight leg separation in the air, which will be a deduction.
I was pretty sure my statistician put in the wrong score. He had to be lying to me. 9.9 for Drew Watson's 10-0 vault that she stuck.
I'm upset by that.
Judges saw something we didn't. Now Gracie Dave, she gets her chance. Number 26 in the country on this event.
Gracie has a lot of power. She did some great warm-up vaults. Hopefully she can deliver here. Nice 1.5, just a little too much power causing her to take that hop forward, but huge distance and height from that table.
It'll be interesting to see what the judges do with that because that was bigger than Drew Watson's vault, but she did take that step. So maybe they end up with the same score. We shall see. We should stop trying to guess scores, Alicia, because we have been off here a few times now. Back over to the bars. Lexi Graber gets a 9.85 for her routine. Nice score. Now Kylie Dixon gets a chance to go. Kylie's got an interesting background. Competed for Belarus at the 2015 and World Championships in the 2016 Olympics. Her last time out got a 9.9 on this event.
Hip cast Hansen almost loses it, but fights to stay on the bar. She's getting a little bit ahead of herself, having uncharacteristic mistakes, like a almost wobble or fall on the squat on the low bar. That's something you do when you're a low-level athlete. I'm sure Dana won't be happy with that, but big release move on the high bar. Needs to be a little bit tighter in her middle. keep that core section strong so she doesn't lose any more on handstands. But sticks that dismount,
Man
ends the routine
alive.
on a good note.
They are not giving away anything on those landings. Quite impressive for the Crimson Tide on bars.
Builds momentum with those 2 giant swings, the full twisting double back, opens up just to see where her feet need to go, and nails it.
And she sees it from a mile away. You know, it's almost like
so
you
much height.
should stick that. It is a high vault. Now, Gracie Day for Auburn on vault, a 9.85. So for 1.5 done that well. We typically have seen higher scores. So a little tight on the judging early as Jada Glenn, another freshman, anchors the vault lineup for Auburn. She's capable of a 1.5 as well.
Yurchenko 1.5.
Does it.
Nice vault, just the landing was missing there. If you see, she starts straight, but then in the air, her twisting causes her to come out of line with the table. There's no lines to keep her in with it, so she won't receive deduction, but it could have attributed to why she took that step on the landing.
As we go back to bars, let's go back to Lauren.
Kiana Winston will be anchoring in place of Mac Brandon. We've talked about the devastating injury of Mac Brandon earlier. And while her role on this team might look a little different, it's far greater than maybe she even realizes right now. Dana said there wasn't a dry eye in the gym when they found out during practice. The team, though, putting in an extra effort. Absolutely no complaining right now. And Dana says she hopes this is a spark for a positive change on the outcome of the season.
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, she has been quite a leader for that team. Kiana Winston following Kylie Dixon's 9.775. They're definitely going to want a bigger score here.
Clean set so far for Kiana. Just getting ready for this dismount. Big double A. Like a rock. Did not move. Nice form. Good body position in the air. Couldn't ask for a better dismount than that.
What a rotation for Alabama and an outstanding rotation for Auburn. We have got a good one here in Auburn, Alabama. When we come back, we're going to talk youth and consistency between this Auburn and Alabama team.
We don't hide from youth. I like the youth. I would say that's probably why my hairline's going farther back. Maybe I use them too much. I don't know. But the way we approach it here is whether you're a walk-on, whether you're a freshman, whether you're a senior, you have to earn your spot every night. You know, we don't give anybody any freebies. There are no favors in Auburn gymnastics. And if you're a freshman and you earn your spot, you're going to compete.
Alicia, youth is a word that has been used with this Auburn team quite a bit. What has it meant to them this year?
For Auburn, it would cause a little bit of a rocky start having such a young team. But if you turn the page looking towards the future, that is really big promising for them. They are getting the experience in those scores and King's side of their system now. But next year, the year after that, they could be putting up some great team scores.
And it looks like it's starting to come together for Coach Graba. He said after their last meet, we went 27 for 27 and all of our exhibition routines hit. I don't think you can ask for a whole lot more than that. In total, 17 of our 24 routines are from freshmen and sophomores, and we're the youngest team ranked in the top 20. That is big. Now for Alabama, they are a more seasoned team, Alicia, but they have struggled with consistency.
Balance beam is the make or break event for women's gymnastics, and Coach Duckworth asked the athletes, what happened here? Were you nervous? What made you make these mistakes? And the girls go, no, we weren't nervous at all. We just got ahead of ourselves. You can't let the mental aspect of balance beam get the best of you.
That was last week against Kentucky, and you can see the consistency chart here. You do not want to see a big dip in the middle of your consistency chart. Generally a bad thing. You want to see it generally grow towards the right and get higher, and the peak being the SEC, the regional, and the NCAA championships. For somebody who's won an NCAA title on balance beam, Dana Duckworth certainly cannot be happy. After one rotation, we've got a good one. Alabama does have a slight lead over Auburn, but we've got a long way to go. Coming up next, Alabama will be on vault. We'll get to see their star again, Lexi Graber, and Auburn will be on bars. We get our first look at their MVP, Abby Millay.
We're going to focus on going out there and staying in our bubble. Breathe it in. I am confident. Breathe it out. Beyond reason.
He just kind of like systems. We're gonna smile and we're gonna have fun. He just like kind of looks around.
Ladies, what does TMT stand for? Stand up, say it louder. Yes, always grateful, yes, I love it.
If you had not figured it out, that was the gymnast coaching imitations. Me and Alicia are just laughing here because some of those were spot on. Nicely done, ladies. Hopefully your coaches don't get a chance to actually see that, or there might be conditioning. Now here we are on vault. Shea Mahoney leading off for Alabama.
Big Yurchenko full. Nice body position. Unfortunately, she had so much power, causing her to take that bounce backwards.
That was a beautiful vault. Looks like if she's not working the 1.5, it's got to be close because that was a beautiful Yurchenko full. Auburn moves to the bars for their second rotation. Katie Becker will also lead off this event. She led off vault with a nice Yurchenko full. She had a rough meet against Arkansas a couple weeks ago and peeled off on her Jaeger. And actually, Jeff Graves said she came up to him and said, you know what, maybe it knocked some sense into me because since then she has been spot on this event.
Starting with a blind change to straddle Jaeger, the skill that she fell on in Arkansas, but made it here tonight. Moving from high bar to low bar with that shoot over. Hitting those handstands. Double layout. No stick, but it was a good start for Auburn on bars.
Trying to match Shea Mahoney's 9.825 for the first vault for Alabama.
That straddle Jaeger, you can see that flexed left foot. There'll be a small deduction there from the judges. And then that nice body position on double layout. Just a little bit unprepared for that landing.
So now back to vault. Abby Armbrecht Jr. out of Mobile, Alabama.
Abby has the potential to do a 1.5 Yurchenko, but they've been holding her back a little bit, maybe waiting closer to postseason. Just been competing the full tonight. Big full. Again, Alabama has beautiful fulls. They have the potential to upgrade, but saving it for a little bit later in the season.
She kind of got the hop step here, Alicia. The judges might nail her for that.
That's a double deduction if you think about it. The hop back is one, then the step in the turn is another one.
Katie Becker on bars for Auburn, just a 9.75. Generally, if you're watching at home, scores in the 9.7s, those are the ones that are going to help you lose, to be honest with you. You get in the 9.8s, that keeps you in it. The 9.9s and up, those are the scores that help you win meets and help you get to the national championships at the end of the year. One of the important freshmen for Auburn, Drew Watson, doing the all-around tonight.
On bars, there are three main things that judges are looking for. They want to make sure you're hitting those handstands. You have to have great form on the skills you're performing. And of course, you want to stick your landing. It's the last thing the judges see before they're going to start jotting down your score. Full twisting double back, fighting for that stick, small hop forward.
Drew Watson gets it done again. She is really rounding into form here late in the season.
We have to remember, judging is subjective. Would you give this handstand, or the legs were at 90, but the chest was not? A little bit uneven with her upper body on the landing of her dismount off the uneven bars.
Abby Armbrecht got a 9.775 for her vault, so the judges did nail her for that landing. Now Ari Gaera gets ready to chase down the vault runway. She's only vaulted twice this year. 9.85 the last time out.
Making her way down the runway. Yurchenko half on, front half off. Solid distance, just a little bit uncontrolled on that landing.
It's an afternoon of college hoops. First, Arkansas takes on Alabama at 6 Eastern. Then at 8:30, it's number 12 Auburn and Florida. Both games are right here on the SEC Network. So Drew Watson gets a 9.8 as Kendall Moss gets her turn. She is an uneven bar specialist. This is her only event.
Seeing a lot of loose handstands in the middle, like If you let your body relax at the wrong point, it can easily deter you from getting that handstand or even falling over. You can't be conservative. You need to stay tight and focus throughout your whole bar set and not let those little mistakes add up. Double layout. Small steps on that landing. That's unfortunate because it was a nice bar routine and you're giving that away for free at the end.
Giving it away for free. There is head coach of the Auburn Tigers, Jeff Graba. In his 8th season, he came over from the University of Utah, was an assistant coach there, did a great job there, and brought a lot of the things he learned there here to Auburn, and he has done an outstanding job. Has qualified his team to the Super 6 finals at the NCAA Championships. They've come a long way as Kiana Winston gets ready to vault. She has actually only vaulted twice this year as well.
Big Yurchenko full, pike down at the end. She had a lot of height and just wasn't patient to keep her body tight as her feet approached the landing mat. A little bit crooked off the table. That one step there after performing the flight element of the vault. Kiana has a ton of power, has been known to do a 1.5 before as well. I'll be interested to see what this vaulting lineup looks like closer to SECs and postseason if they upgrade.
Just a quick cleanup, Kiana Winston has vaulted more than twice this year. She's been a regular there. Ari Guerra's vault score, a 9.85, by the way, right before her. Kendall Moss, a 9.775, right before this young lady, their MVP, Abby Malay.
Big release move that was just a little too big.
And that hurts. They have 2 scores in the 9.7s. They were certainly going to want to drop one of those. Not going to be able to now. They're going to have to count both of them.
Just pushed the toe shoot a little too far over the handstand before she let go, causing her to be further from the bar than she needed to be. Let me tell you, that belly flop landing doesn't feel good.
Even on that soft mat, I'm sure it's not very forgiving. Abby Malay, who's really been an MVP of sorts for this team, especially as they got to the second half, really rounded into form, has been really consistent, and this has not been typical of her.
Finished the routine strong, not ideally what she was looking for. She's coming back from an injury last season and is really been putting a lot of pressure on herself to be perfect, and I think that maybe could have affected her here tonight.
A lot of pressure on their last 2 gymnasts as we see the points of emphasis on vault, Alicia.
Vault, it's all about the amplitude, the height you're getting off the table. You're landing and having that infamous 10.0 start value. Not all vaults are created equal. There's only a few that start from that 10.0.
Freshman Lexi Graber gets her chance. Kiana Winston got a 9.8.
Graber is known for doing a 1.5. Big height. Hiked in her hips, causing her to take that step forward. I think she was going for the stick and just looking for the landing too early.
Yeah, the stuck landing on vault for Alabama has been elusive. Not so much on bars, but been tough to come by here. So we're waiting on Abby Malay's score. Oftentimes the toughest routines to judge are the ones that have major mistakes. And that might be the case here for the judges. Gracie Day is waiting to go, and the pressure is on her. This meet could get away from them very quickly. If either of the last 2 gymnasts, Gracie Day or Samantha Serio for Auburn, have major mistakes, they are going to put themselves in a deep, deep hole early. Abby Malay score 9.15. They absolutely will want to drop that, but they have to get 2 more hits.
Gracie's mounting over the low bar.
Uh-oh.
Fight for that handstand.
And this is catastrophic.
This is where you need to be mentally tough in gymnastics. In the team aspect, you can't let one person's mistake affect how you're going to perform. You need to turn the page and be prepared to hit and make up for what just happened.
What happened here,
Hits
Alicia?
the handstand, and it just lets her lower body go over the top, and instead of being tight in the middle and pushing back towards the low bar.
She's going for that handstand. Give her credit for that. She's not being conservative.
When your bottom half gets over, it's going to take you there. The weight, the distribution of where her body is not going to help her stand the bar unless she's tight.
You can see the scores for Auburn. This is going to be another low one. So they are going to count a low 9.
You saw her turning to her coach asking, what should I do? And he told her, start over again. Toe handstand to blind change. Straddle Jaeger to immediate shoot over. Bonus point for the immediate connection of those two skills. Being a little conservative now on those handstands when she fell over on the first one.
So I'm not sure, you know, you can't necessarily win a meet in the first 2 rotations, but you can lose one. And Auburn is trying their darndest to let this one get away early. They are going to have to start hitting and hitting big because Alabama is not having any mistakes. Lexi Graver, a very solid 9.85, and they've got Nikki Guerrero anchoring their vault lineup. She's capable of going big. She's number 9 in the country on this event.
Nikki Guerrero also does a Yurchenko 1.5 vault, 10.0 start value. Potential to be a very big score if she controls this landing. That was a stick. I saw a little bit of leg bend and separation on the table going into the flight. There you see that small separation, but that...
Now I feel like this vault was a 9.9 based on what Auburn got on their stuck 1.5. They both had little...
Oh, 100%, I agree.
Little errors. We'll see if the judges see it the same way. We are going to go back over to bars. The most important routine is coming up. Sam Serio and Lauren's got more on her.
Yeah, an important routine here, getting her back in the lineup. Last week against Rutgers, they went 24 for 24 without their top routine here in Sam Serio. She had an appendectomy, so she was recovering from that. They hope to get her back in the other 2 events that she does as well, which is beam and floor, but for now, we'll see how she does.
Sam is number 9 in the country on this event, and this is such a big routine for this team if they want any chance of defending their home turf against the Tide.
She's fighting for those handstands, and you got to give respect the fact that she's going for them. But it just, you can't be loose. Those are just all about just having tight body position. As a coach, you are telling your athletes, you stay tight throughout your whole routine all the way to the end. Do not relax anytime in the middle or beginning of the routine. She had a beautiful release move, and then just her legs weren't prepared for the double back landing.
Lauren Sisler is with what I'm guessing is a very happy head coach, Dana Duckworth. Lauren?
Dana, a rivalry matchup here in Auburn Arena. The energy can be felt. How are your girls feeding off of that right now?
Well, first of all, J-Lo and Mackie are not with us, and so we love you girls, and this is for you. Number one, that bar performance, those landings, and to come over to vault, we got a little heightened up. There was some definitely stuff going on, but you know what? For Nikki Guerrero to land like that, we want to do 24 for 24. We got to stay straight. We got to keep our minds right and just do what we've practiced all week. So I'm excited for these ladies. I want them just to do it. That's just for them, for this University of Alabama in this kind of rivalry.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Roll time.
Thank you, Lauren. Coming up, we are going to look back at the last meeting between these 2 teams here at Auburn. Not been a beautiful night for Auburn. They have got a deficit over a point back of the Alabama Crimson Tide. They've got a long way to go to make that up. Let's crank up the Wayback Machine because 2 years ago, Auburn shocked Alabama and beat them here in Auburn. Last year, senior MJ Rote looked back on that historic win for the Tigers.
I had no idea we had beat Bama. I knew that it probably was going to be a close one, but I didn't know like who won, and all of a sudden they announced it and I was like, we won. I just remember going up to the student section. They were all hype. I was hype, and it's just like hype on top of hype. I don't know, it was everything I ever dreamed of if we ever beat Bama.
If you're in the state of Alabama, if you live here, there's only one of 2 sides you're on. There's no middle ground. Either you're a Tiger or you're Crimson Tide, and it's been a great rivalry this year again. We know Auburn got the win in football. They've split in both men's and women's basketball. Now, we're waiting for gymnastics. So it looks real good for Alabama here tonight, but they've got another meeting in Huntsville, Alabama on March 9th. So if Auburn does not come back from this big deficit, they will have another chance to do it. You can see Auburn getting ready to go on the balance beam. They'll need to stay on that piece of equipment because they are over a point back of the Crimson Tide. They will be on beam. We'll get a chance to see once again Taylor Krippner for Auburn, and for Alabama, they go to floor. Kiana Winston, she's gotten a 10. Can she do it tonight? Welcome back to Auburn Arena. Over 1 point behind are the Auburn Tigers as they try to do what they've only done once since 1979, and that is to beat the Alabama Crimson Tide. We're going to jump over to Lauren Sissel. She's got more on the head coach of the Auburn Tigers, Jeff Graba. Lauren?
Look, John, full disclosure here, you don't need a rivalry for the fans to show up to these meets. Attendance numbers have risen as Jeff Graba is here in his 8th season at Auburn. And he points to several reasons, one of those being his time at Utah. He spent 5 years there as an assistant coach, and he brought some of those philosophies over here. Number 2, we all know this is an exciting sport. And number 3, these Auburn fans are educated. They understand the sport, and there is no doubt that they are bought into this.
Thanks, Lauren. You can see 2015, 2016, the 2 biggest average attendances in the history of this program, and that just happened to be 2 of the best seasons in the history of this program. We talked about that big win in 2016 over Alabama. Allie Riddle. Now we're going to go to beam. This is Allie Riddle. I'm going to just throw something personal out there because I've known this young lady since she was 9 years old. She came to my camp as a camper, and it is pretty cool to see her. She walked onto this Auburn team, and she has made this beam lineup, and she has been 100% on the season, 8 for 8. And when she walked on, I know Jeff Graba did not expect this out of her, but what a job she's done.
That handspring step out, layout step out. Small little balance check there.
Allie came over to us before the competition, and she said, I'm sorry that I sound like a man. She's got a cold, doesn't have the flu, I guess, but she is very much under the weather and just trying to battle through this routine for her team.
Switch leap to straddle half. Cat jump to aerial, back full dismount, fighting for a stick, small little bobble there, but a good clean hit for Auburn on beam.
And it's so important to have that first routine be a hit, and there's no event where it's more important than beam. It sets the tone for the rest of the rotation. Ari Gaera gets ready to go on floor. There is your floor rotation. Now for Alabama, they've got 12 routines left. And really, to win this meet, they really just need to hit 10 of those 12, 5 on each event, and they should walk out of here with the win. Now, there's a bigger thing at stake. We talked about those average scores, the RQS that's coming into play as we speak. Alabama currently is in the top 4 in the conference, and that is important. They want to maintain that. So a big score here is just as, if not more important than getting the win.
Ari getting ready for her first tumbling pass. Round off back handspring, double tuck. Perfectly controlled on that landing. Tour jeté, straddle full, a little bit soft knees on that tour jeté. What I like about Alabama gymnastics is they like to have a good time on the competition floor. It can be a very stiff and rigid environment to compete in, but in college, that's where you let loose a little bit and you have a little more fun. Last tumbling pass. Round off back handspring, double pike. Fighting to stay in bounds. I didn't see a judge raise a flag, so I don't think they will deduct her for that, but it came very close.
I think, if I remember correctly, last week against Kentucky, they had that same issue. She nailed her floor routine and then took this big hop out of bounds. So looks like that dismount may have been a bit of a challenge for her, but she looks like she kept it in bounds, and more importantly, she gets the hit and gets things started off well for Alabama. Now Drew Watson, you can see that beam average, just a 9.305. Certainly capable of doing much better than that. She's only done 3 routines this season in competition on this event. She does have 1 hit, 2 misses. That's why her average score is low. Points of emphasis, Alicia.
On balance beam, there are a number of things that we look for. It's connections. You're going to have acro skills, and then of course you want to limit the amount of balance checks you have. So that includes wobbles. Obviously you don't want to fall. Staying on is ideal. That handspring step out, layout step out. Unfortunate fall in her series. She seems to be okay getting back up.
Wow.
Nobody ever likes splitting the beam. Fighting to keep that aerial on.
This has got to be a concern for the coaching staff. Now, this is her 4th beam routine in competition. She only has 1 hit of those 4 routines, and certainly as you get to the end of the season, those scores are so critical, and getting big team scores can give you championships, it can get you to the NCAAs, or it cannot. They've got to start getting it together.
Sometimes you have to weigh the pros and cons of potential versus what you're going to be actually your output in competition.
We're going to look at this fall. You may want to turn away because it was not a pretty one.
So you see the back leg in her back handspring is bent, causing her to not get proper footing on the layout step out. It just right on the side and unfortunately takes it. We've all been there. If you're a gymnast, a female gymnast at least, you split the beam at least once in your life.
Unfortunate. She seems okay, but that is unfortunate for the team. Now, they already have a miss in that rotation. They're going to want to drop that score to give themselves any hope, if there is any left for Auburn. Now, Shea Mahoney follows Ari Guerra's 9.775, so not a huge score to start with.
Opening up her floor routine with the double pike. A lot of power on that pass.
Out of bounds, though. The judge did raise the flag. So Alabama's got Auburn on the mats, but they're giving away some little deductions here, and we know what comes at the end of the meet for them. It's a balance beam. They did not finish well last week, so this meet is not over.
Front handspring, front full, front layout. Stayed in bounds that time. Gorgite half, straddle full. A minute and 30 seconds of straight dance, acro, movement. I think floor is probably the hardest endurance event in women's gymnastics. Definitely showcases a little more personality of the athletes. Shea finished that routine strong with a double tuck.
Only the 3rd time this season, actually the only time she's done floor since week 3 of the season, rather. She sprained her ankle early in the season and has finally made it back in the lineup, and maybe a little bit of rust, Alicia?
She held on to her legs a tad bit too long. If she opened up a little sooner, she would have been able to spot the floor and control that landing a little bit better.
Definitely did not lack power. Now Drew Watson on beam, just a 9.075. They can drop that score, but they have 4 routines left. They've got to be great. Meredith Silva, another freshman, mounts the beam. And Jeff Graves said these last 4 gymnasts in their rotation are capable of all going 9.9 plus. They're going to give themselves a chance. They need to do that right here, right now.
Nice aerial. There's quite a difference between competing club gymnastics and collegiate gymnastics. There are fewer meets when you're competing for your club. In the NCAA, what makes it so difficult is you have back-to-back-to-back weekends of constant competition, and sometimes you have more than 1 meet in a week. So that can be wearing on a freshman. I think a lot of people don't understand why, being a freshman in the lineup and consistent is such a big deal. It's a lot of pressure and a lot of change for a newcomer.
Score for Shea Mahoney on floor, just a 9.7.
Cartwheel gainer full off the dismount. Not fully rotated over. Her chest was down. She wasn't really ready for that landing. not going to be a super high score for that Beamer team.
Sunday at 6 Eastern, we'll bring you the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships from Gilliam Indoor Stadium in College Station. Should be a good one, and it'll be right here on the SEC Network. Abby Armbrecht, next up for Alabama. She's a junior out of Mobile, Alabama. She has a high of a 9.95 this season on this event, but she's following 2 scores in the 9-7. So Alabama seems like they want to just give Auburn a chance, but Auburn's not taking advantage of it.
Abby opened up her floor routine with a big double pike. Switch side, straddle full. Second tumbling pass, round off 1.5 punch front layout.
Meredith Sylvia's score on beam, a 9.825.
Last tumbling pass for Abby. Front 1.5 to stag jump. You get bonus points for immediately connecting acro to jumps. So that's a simple way, or difficult way, depending on how you are as an athlete, to gain some bonus points.
Another look at her opening pass.
Nice set, good height on that double pike. The front handspring, front 1.5 to stag jump.
So Abby Armbrecht gets the job done. Now, sophomore Emma Slappy, probably the greatest last name in women's college gymnastics. Mounts the beam. She's out of Jacksonville, Florida, in Starlight Gymnastics. You can see the scores on the side there. 2 decent 9.8s, but that 9.075 is haunting these last 3 gymnasts. They know they've got to hit. They've got to hit big. Try to close the gap a little bit before they go to floor.
Fighting to stay on in that acro series. We talked about the mental aspect of beam earlier, how it has been plaguing Alabama, but Auburn was supposedly having some great beam competitions in the last few weeks, and I think they're just letting their mistakes from bars carry over to to create more mistakes on beam.
Things just got tougher too, because Abby Armbrecht put up a 9.9 on floor.
Saved the routine. Was only, that big wobble, but other than that, it was a nice hit. The aerial to lay out back full was nicely done. Just needed to not have that step there.
So 4 routines done for Auburn on balance beam. We're going to go back over to floor, but before that, we're going to go to Lauren. Lauren?
Yeah, when you have a team loaded with depth like Alabama does, I can only imagine it's not easy determining the lineups each and every week. I asked Dana about that earlier, what the key determining factors are there. She said it's a few things. Lifetime competitive experience, not just at this level. Consistency over time, both in practice and competition, a very important part of this, and scoring potential.
Maddie Desch, former World Championship team member for the United States, sophomore.
Opening with an Arabian double front, fights to stay on her feet. From the angle that I can see, she went around the side instead of setting straight up and going over the top, causing her to make it a little bit harder to do that double rotation in the front position. Round off 1.5, front half to split jump to punch front. Loaded tumbling pass. You're required to have a 2 salto pass, which means that you're going to have 2 different types of flips in your tumbling pass. Going for her last tumbling pass. Double tuck. Ooh, just didn't have the legs to save it. Or stay in bounds, excuse me.
I saw a judge's hand go up, so I believe she did get the out-of-bounds deduction. You know, Alabama's staying on their feet, but they are not closing strong right here. I know something that's got Dana Duckworth concerned.
We've definitely seen much better floor performances from them. This multi-acro dance pass.
That was cool.
It was very cool. And then that last tumbling pass, the double tuck, held on too long. Her feet were almost in front of her on that landing, which could have caused her to overrotate to her bottom, but she stayed on her feet.
And you can see she went out of bounds. Now, on beam, Emma Slappy got a 9.775. That will be a score they have to count. Now, Abby Millay mounts the beam. She had a rough bars. That's where it really started to go wrong for Auburn when she came out off the uneven bars, and Lauren Sisler's got more on Abby Millay.
Yeah, unfortunate there on bars, but Abby Millay is one of those gymnasts that has really flown under the radar in terms of the scope of collegiate gymnastics, and now coming off a season-ending knee injury from a season ago, the hard work is really paying off. Coach Graves said early on she put a lot of pressure on herself in the season, but now she's become a big contributor now on 3 events, and the good news is she secured that red shirt, so she'll be back again next season.
She has been very important to this team, and Jeff Graba used the word a couple times, underappreciated, when referring to Abby Millay.
A little bit of an off day for her, but when she hits, she has routines full of difficulty, and she has like a style about her that I love watching her compete. Sticking that beam landing, had that one wobble, but made that routine count.
When she hits, she is among the best in the country on her events. So that should be a good number for Auburn. They need it. Back over on floor exercise, we wait for Kiana Winston. She is outstanding on this event, and she is an outstanding gymnast overall. 10-time All-American, SEC beam champion last year, SEC bars champion the year before that, and she has scored a 10 on this event. And Alicia and I have yet to get a 10 in any competition we've covered this season. This is our last chance.
Nobody wants to give us a 10, John. I don't understand. These judges are not making it easy, though, that's for sure.
They are. They have been tough, because we've seen some routines that look like they very well could be 10-0s, and they have just come up short.
Opening pass, double pike.
Maddie Desch put up a 9.6. So Alabama is going to have to count 2 scores in the 9.7s. Meanwhile, Abby Millay a 9.875. So despite that fall on beam, Auburn just shaving a little bit off of that Alabama lead, but we'll see if it's going to be enough as they head into their last event, the floor exercise.
Front layout, front full. Last tumbling pass, round off back handspring, double tuck, well-controlled landing. I don't think they'll give her a 10 because the judging's been a little bit hard this evening, but it will still be a good score.
Kiana Winston is number 23 in the country in the all-around, so she is a contender for some accolades in the all-around as well as this event.
That double tuck, landed with her feet together, no step back or lunge. That's how you know she has well controlled her tumbling.
So the last gymnast to go for Auburn on beam will be Taylor Krippner. Jeff Graber said she is capable of being a home run on this event. And one thing he said about her is that after a teammate makes a mistake in the beam lineup, she always seems to really knock it out of the park. It's when the rest of her team hits that she seems to struggle a little bit with putting on that exclamation point. Obviously following a miss in this rotation early on.
Switch leap to split jump to split 3/4 off the beam.
Just not the Auburn Tigers night. Kiana Winston on floor, a 9.925. Serendipitous, big score on floor when Auburn has another fall on beam.
Round off 1.5. Small hop on that landing.
What happened on this fall, Alicia?
She starts with that nice switch leap to the split jump. And then when she jumps, she loses her balance by dropping her shoulder in the air, causing her to pull herself off the beam, which makes it hard to stay on when you're not in line.
Next up on floor for Alabama, Nikki Guerrero.
So now Nikki Guerrero has a chance to put an exclamation point on what's been a solid floor rotation. 2 scores above 9.9. However, they have had a couple scores in that 9.7 range, which we'll have to count. But man, if the dance party hasn't started already, Alicia, it is about to get real here in Auburn Arena with Nikki Guerrero.
It is Friday, John. It's probably a big going out night here for Nikki. Had a little bit too much power on that opening double pike. Almost had it over-rotated, but she used that back leg to stop her from taking any extra steps.
You just saw the scores on floor. They will definitely be looking to drop that 9.6, assuming Nikki Guerrero stays on her feet here.
Switch side straddle full. Second pass, round up 1.5, front full. As the kids say, it just got lit in here, John.
I mean, there are no words. I mean, you just got to let the pictures do the talking.
Looking to end this routine on a high note. The front handspring, 1.5. It was a hit for Nikki. I've seen her do better floor routines. Her tumbling didn't have as much height as it normally does, but all that matters is she stayed on her feet.
And she did that. Even the gymnastics, you can see them in the background doing the floor routine with her. They're a tough crowd, but they even appreciate some good gymnastics. Lauren Sisler's got head coach Jeff Grable. Lauren?
Coach, tough run on there on bars, some of the mistakes carrying over on beam. What are you seeing from the girls and contributing factors to the nerves tonight?
Well, I think we're pressing too much. I think the girls are in their own heads. The energy event did well for us. The technical events they're struggling with, and we've got to put it back together on floor. This is a learning experience. We're a really young team, and I think some people are trying to do too much. So we've got to get, we got to hit our sea legs on floor.
What are you telling them before they head over to this last rotation?
Well, I'm trying to tell them they got to leave their mistakes behind. They're taking stuff with them and trying to make up for their mistakes, and that usually isn't a good recipe. We've got to let it go. We've got to move on and do the next task at hand, which is a good floor.
All right, thanks so much, Coach.
Coming up, we will take a look at the big picture in the SEC, as well as some LSU Georgia highlights from earlier tonight. You are watching Friday Night Heights on the SEC Network. So we're heading into the 4th rotation. It has just been, it got ugly for Auburn, and it just got uglier in the 3rd rotation. They are almost 2 points behind their rival, the Alabama Crimson Tide. So not what they hoped, because it is a special night here in Auburn, Alabama, because it's senior night. They honor a couple of seniors, Kennedy Finster and her family, presented, as well as Kara Strickland. They get their moment in the sun as seniors. Unfortunately, Kara has a broken finger there, and that cost her season. But 2 outstanding seniors for the Auburn Tigers. And LSU, they get it done again, Alicia Sacramone.
SEC Gymnast of the Week, Sarah Finnegan, posted the highest all-around score of Week 7 in the NCAA with a 39.775. SEC Specialist of the Week went to Lexi Priestman, who tied her career high on bars on Friday with a 9.95, only to top her career high on Sunday with a 9.975. And then SEC Freshman of the Week, Christina Desiderio, had a pair of career highs on beam and floor.
Earlier tonight, LSU, they had another great night. They just keep rolling. This time it was in Athens, Georgia.
Sarah Finnegan just dominating the uneven bars. A little bit on that landing could have been better, but she is an amazing athlete. Maya Hambrick, huge 1.5 vault, scoring a 9.9. And last but certainly not least, Lexi Priestman got back in the floor lineup and scored a career high, tied her career high with a 9.95 with a stunning floor routine. And Sarah Finnegan, the champ, with a beautiful beam set, 9.95, bringing it home for LSU.
LSU moves back up into the 2 spot in the country after an outstanding week and a half for them. There's our score here. It's been ugly, but there's one more event. Alabama's got to be on beam. Auburn's going to need some help from them if they're going to want to make a move. We get one more chance to see Nikki Guerrero on beam, and for Auburn, one more shot for Drew Watson in the all-around. Those are some solid moves here on a Friday night, and we got a special fan in what is a sold-out crowd. That's Gus Malzahn, the football coach here at Auburn University. He had a very solid season. As we see the score one more time, Auburn got a deficit to overcome, but bottom line, Alicia, you want the next thing you do to be positive, and Auburn has a chance to finish on a positive note, and something that Alabama needs to get done here on beam is to hit 6 for 6 as well. This is Winter Childers starting things off for the Crimson Tide.
Solid on that acro series of a back handspring step out, layout, step out. Split jump to sheath jump. Front toss. That skill is actually named after my Olympic teammate, Nastia Lugan. Aerial, back tuck full, a little bit crooked off the beam, but make sure she lands it well. This nice leap connection. So you're seeing here, it looks close to 180. Some girls have flexibility where they're hitting over that, but that won't be a deduction from the judges.
Winter's battled a bit of a wrist injury this year, but she has got a lot of talent. I've seen her as a junior gymnast at the Nastia Lukin Cup, actually, and she's got a lot of potential and very important to that team, and getting them off to a good start on what has been a fairly inconsistent event for them. Now, Auburn trying to finish on a good note. They've got another freshman enters the floor. This is Ashley Smith from Holly Springs, North Carolina.
First tumbling pass, double pike. Switch side, straddle full. Round off 1.5 front layout to Shishinova. Woo!
9.875 for Winter Childers. That is a season high for her.
Looking to finish this routine strong. Round off back handspring, double tuck. Trying to get back on the right track. We have a hit routine for Auburn first. Step in the right direction. The nice connection pass to the Shishinova. Ended the routine With that double tuck.
Next up on beam, Abby Armbrecht.
So now back over to beam, Abby Armbrecht. Now the other subplot to this meet isn't just who gets the win, but it's also Alabama has a chance here to put up a very big road score. They have a good chance to go above a 197, which for a road score is gigantic. We talked about how important it is to be in the top 4 in the conference as you head into the SEC championship. This would just help them solidify that spot. They're currently 3rd ranked team in the conference.
Front aerial to beat jump. Small balance check after her full turn. Setting up for her acro series. Back handspring step out, layout step out. Rock solid.
Ashley Smith on floor, 9.825.
Split jump, sheep jump. Preparing for her dismount. Round off, double full, excuse me. Small hop on that landing.
Even caught Alicia Sacramone Quinn off guard on that one.
The back handspring layout, step out perfectly square and on the beam. Nice height, a little too much power. Maybe we'll do 2.5 one day, John.
That consistency graph for Alabama Crimson Tide on balance beam is going to start to straighten out because so far 2 for 2 for them. Let's go back to Lauren Sisler.
Yeah, when I talked to Jeff Graber earlier in the season, he said the leadership on this team was kind of transcending all over the place. But a few weeks ago, he decided to take a page out of Steve Kerr's book for the Golden State Warriors during the game, letting them do the coaching. They mirrored that after the Arkansas meet a few weeks ago, letting the team pick their captains each and every week. Let's see how that leadership works here as they follow on floor.
Pretty interesting floor lineup for Auburn. We talked about youth. Well, they have 5 underclassmen in their floor rotation. It's only Abby Millay, who is in the anchor spot, that is an upperclassman, rather.
Second pass, round off, 1.5 front tuck. Didn't get her feet underneath her enough on that 1.5 before she tried to go for the front tuck, and unfortunately didn't make it on her feet. Getting ready for that last pass. Double tuck. Finishes strong, even though we had that one mistake in the middle.
So I know it's not been Auburn's night, but there is so much to like about this team, that those young athletes, like Jeff Graber said, they have a lot of talent. And as they continue to improve, they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. As we look at Alabama's remaining schedule, they get North Carolina at home one more time against Auburn. And then, man, what a way to finish your season against the #1 team in the country. No better way to get ready for the postseason, though, than going against the best. They get Oklahoma March 16th. So 2 scores in for Alabama on beam. Winter Childers started off with a 9.875, followed up with Abby Armbrecht's 9.825.
Peyton is a transfer from the University of Florida. Trying to make her impact here in the Alabama lineup. Unfortunately, has a fall in her acro series.
And that is too bad. Peyton Ernst out of Capel, Texas.
Switch lead. Sheep jump. front aerial. Round off double full, stuck dismount. Not the best routine.
Yeah, unfortunate fall. She did finish clean. Now, we talked about the coveted 197 on the road is big in women's gymnastics. Alabama needs to average approximately a 9.825 to get that done here in Auburn, Alabama. Jada Glenn's score on floor, 9.1. Now this is Drew Watson. She is competing in the all-around. Unfortunately, she's quite a ways back from Kiana Winston. Now, Kiana does have to finish on beam, so Drew can put up a big score here. Maybe that can put a little bit of pressure on Kiana Winston in the last rotation.
When asked about the rivalry between Auburn and Alabama, Drew goes, I didn't really understand the whole Auburn-Alabama thing until I watched the football game, so I'm pretty excited to experience it with gymnastics. Opened up with a big double pike. Switch side straddle full.
Auburn does have a couple of gymnasts that aren't in the lineup that typically would be. Sam Serio and Katie Becker. They're out because of injury and an appendix that was removed, but they can help, certainly help this floor lineup for Auburn.
Drew going for her last tumbling pass. The round off 1.5 front layout.
Let's see Peyton Ernst's score on balance beam, 9.2.
Second tumbling pass for Drew was a double tuck. She's very quick rotation on her flips, which helps her get around sooner so she can land with good control, and then that 1.5 punch front layout.
Lexi Graber about to mount the beam. Now we talked about that 9.2 from Peyton Ernst. They will want to drop that. These last 3 beam routines, very critical for that team score, for that big team score we've been talking about. They will have to have a couple more mistakes at least for Auburn to make this close. But again, big picture, they need to hit these.
Lexi performs a difficult acro series of back handspring step out layout, 2 feet. Slight leg separation in the air. The judges won't see that though because we get a different view than they have. Switch leap, straddle 3/4.
Drew Watson gets a 9.875. It is a young career, but it is a career high for her.
Last week, Graber had quite a few balance checks. This week, she's looking definitely more rock solid and confident in her balance beam routine. Round off double full, stuck landing.
That is going to keep them on pace most certainly for that high road score.
That back handspring step out, layout 2 feet. The front toss to 1 foot shows balance and strength and grace and all combined into one. And that double full dismount, a little bit legs crossed in the air, but a strong, strong beam routine for Lexi Graber.
So now Emma Slappy mounts the floor exercise. Jeff Graber said, you know, they had 4 meets in about a 2-week span and said Emma got a little worn down from that. And that that fatigue shows up on an event like floor exercise. You mentioned it earlier, Alicia, where it's so demanding, dancing and tumbling. See how she's recovered here.
Front layout to front 1.5. A little bit loose legs on that landing.
See that 9.1 from Jada Glenn. That's the score they want to drop. Trying to finish on a positive note here. They can still put up a very nice team score on this event. An event that, quite honestly, they have not put up big numbers yet this year. So this could mean a lot to them.
Going for her next pass. Round off back handspring, double pike.
Lexi Graber on beam, a career high 9.9.
Final breath before her last tumbling pass. Round off back handspring, double tuck. Emma Slappy didn't look too tired from that routine. Nice set for her.
Tonight after our meet, it's SEC Now. The SEC Now crew will have a full recap and breakdowns of all the college hoop games, so don't go away. Stay right here for SEC Now. Kiana Winston gets ready to go on beam. She just needs a 9.025 to clinch the all-around. Only two gymnasts doing the all-around tonight, Kiana Winston and Drew Watson for Auburn. And I'm just being told by our crack staff that the same score, or a little bit better, 9.05, will clinch the meet for the team as well. Lauren's got more on this Alabama team.
Yeah, last week coming off a season high on bars, Alabama really struggled on beam, as we said before. Dana said it wasn't nerves, just getting a little ahead of themselves. The good news, though, she said everything is fixable, and that was their focus this week in practice, doing assignment gymnastics, knocking off the edge, and getting back to that consistency.
Beat jump, straddle half.
Emma Slappy on floor, a 9.875. That is her season best.
Round off, double back dismount.
Big dismount.
Step,
woo!
big dismount, small step. This is a very difficult dismount. 2 flips. She is finishing her second flip above the beam. Let's just take a note for that. That is so much height for a 4-inch apparatus to get that much power off of.
And that's a big, very risky dismount. You see a lot of easier dismounts, the 1.5s, the gainer falls off the side, but she ain't messing around. She's going for it. Now Gracie Day gets her chance to go. Now she's got an option here on her first pass, Alicia. She can do the Arabian double or she can do the double pike. Is this the time where, you know what, you just go for the difficulty, get experience? Or is it time to kind of reel it in knowing that the meet has been won by Alabama?
It's the risk versus reward. I think at this point of the year, it doesn't hurt to do it because she needs the experience. And as a coach, I would let my kids try it. If she felt confident with her abilities and wanting to do it, I'd say, all right, give it the go. But if she isn't feeling, 100%, hold back. But she went for it. And it was nice.
Kiana Winston on beam, a 9.9. That's her season high. That clinches the team for Alabama, and that clinches the all-around for Kiana Winston.
Gracie has amazing facial expressions. I feel like I could watch her do gymnastics all day. She's so comical, very talented, beautiful second tumbling pass.
Playing to the camera a little bit.
I love it. Last pass, round out back handspring, double tuck. Judges will be typically more inclined to reward a floor routine with a higher score if they have a little bit more difficult tumbling like Gracie did on that first tumbling pass.
Here is that Arabian double. Difficult to land clean.
It is a blind landing. Finish strong with a double tuck. This should score well. I think the judges will reward her for doing that difficult first tumbling pass.
And they did give Emma Slappy a 9.875, so good opportunity for them to break the 9.9s for the first time in this rotation. Now the pressure is off somewhat for Nikki Guerrero, but the 197 team score on the road is still in play. She needs a 9.6 to get that 197 team score. Their season high, mind you, for Alabama this year, 197.075. So this can be a season high for them, which would be huge on the road.
Nikki doing a back handspring, step out, layout, step out, layout, step out for her acro series. Very difficult 3 combinations.
Gracie Day on floor, 9.925.
Side aerial. Give himself a little pep talk on the beam.
I like it. You see them talk to themselves every once in a while. It's cool.
Round off 1.5. Trying to hold on for that stuck landing. That 3 acro series. Dead on the beam. Perfect. That round off 1.5. Fighting to keep those feet from moving.
And you can see the passion on her face. That routine meant something to her. And you know, her teammate Matt Brandon is not here. They come back after a rough beam rotation last week. And there's a lot of emotion in this sport. And you could see it come out in Nikki Guerrero on that landing. Abby Malay finishing off the floor rotation for Auburn. Now we talk about small victories in what's been a little bit of a rough meet for Auburn. If they can get a 9.775 here from Abby Malay, they will get a season high on this event, which as a coach, as rough as it's been, to see them come back and do that would be big.
Front handspring layout, front 1.5, fighting to not move her feet. It's all about finding the positive spots in the competition. Yes, there have been mistakes, but it's all about how you learn and grow from that and move on to the next competition and try to be better. Double pike, nails that landing.
Nikki Guerrero on beam, a 9.9. That gets him to the 197, but not just that, it gets him to a 197.3, which is a season high. Big night for the Crimson Tide.
Round off 1.5 front lay. I think that should be a good enough routine to score that 9.7.
Definitely, this is going to be a season high for Auburn on floor exercise. Great job by them. The gymnasties, they never give up. They are in the front row in full garb, or at least mostly full garb, body paint.
Some jean jorts and body paint. Keeping it interesting here.
So Alabama does get the win here again in Auburn, Alabama. Good night for them. We're going to wrap things back up when we come back. Don't go away. In Auburn, Alabama, it has been a night for the Alabama Crimson Tide. They come in and they get the job done again. It is their best meet of the year, 197.3. That is a season high for them. Things trending in the right direction. A tough night for Auburn, just a 195.4 for them. But it was a sellout crowd. The third under head coach, Jeff Graba. Here's the meet summary.
Alabama had 4 career highs tonight on bars, vault, beam, and floor, just making a whole round. Kiana Winston wins her 7th career all-around title and won 122 of the last 123 meets versus Auburn. Tigers won back in 2016, but Alabama wasn't letting them keep that record.
So Alabama gets the win, 197.3 over Auburn, 195.4. This is the last time we're going to be together for what we call Team A. This is our last meet of the year. For Alicia Sacramone Quinn and Lauren Sisler, I'm John Roethlisberger. So long from Tuscaloosa. Let's get you to SEC Studios for SEC Now.